The apex organization for industry in Zimbabwe, the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries, CZI, has been in existence since 1923. It is an independent, self-financed, legally constitutional organization that represents and serves interests of members in a wide array of matters affecting their viability and competitiveness. The CZI president is currently Henry Rizzo. CZI has 4 regional chamber offices in Mashonaland, Matabeleland, Midlands and Manicaland, which serve as reference points for industry and international business community. The head office is in Harare. CZI promotes active business in Zimbabwe to achieve a minimally regulated business environment in which development is possible. In what has become an annual event and greeted with anticipation by business, the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries will on the 14th of February 2020 host an event to launch their CZI Economic Outlook, and at the same event they will also release to the market the publication CZI Industry Economic Outlook 2020. The CZI Economic Outlook is where CZI take the opportunity, after digesting the national budget and the monetary policy, to project what the year is likely going to look like for business in Zimbabwe. This year the Outlook is being held on the back of the 2020 budget and the various monetary policy developments, which include the Monetary Policy Committee and the various monetary measures that have come in the past couple of months, which are indicative of the country's monetary position. At the same event, CZI will release the Manufacturing Sector Survey Report. This is a CZI research on the state of or performance of the sector. The theme for the survey this year is Low Growth Equilibrium Trap, a defining moment for decisive industrialization. We're joined in a minute this morning by Chief Executive Officer of the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries, Sekai Kuvarika. Sekai, welcome to the Mint. Now then, CZI Economic Outlook 2020, what is its purpose? How will it actually help your members in terms of understanding what's going on in business?
Okay. Thank you very much, Andy. I think that the current economic environment we have is the best personification of VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and quite ambiguous. The economic variables in the country are all not stable, as you are aware, which is acknowledged by the government's policy position on taking a 2-year period to transition to stabilization. So as you know, when you are in transition, the ride may be bumpy sometimes, maybe smooth sometimes, but all the same, it's a transition. So the benefit of this outlook for companies, for business, even for civil society and all the economic actors really, is to have an opportunity where they will be able to digest an iteration of the various economic variables that we have and the various scenarios that we have for the probable interactions that these are going to have and how they can position themselves in the year.
I mean, doing business in Zimbabwe, with the economic turmoil that's going on, there are various issues that business has to look at, and I think that your survey is looking at some of these. I mean, they include issues like the foreign exchange market, exchange rates, and also maybe you could talk us through some of that a little bit.
Yes, so the key variables that we are looking at, the foreign exchange market, you know, in terms of foreign exchange rate, the rate has been quite unstable, and also foreign currency availability in the market. We are also looking at inflation, which has also been unstable, and it affects the goods and services market. We are also looking at the money market, interest rates. We are looking at the labor market. You know, when we look at wages and salaries, it's very difficult for companies to sort of determine how they are going to set salaries and wages in a particularly volatile environment like this one. We are also looking at energy supply, energy price. These are huge inputs into industry and into business. We are also looking at, you know, to try and project industry performance in the year 2020. And we are saying that maybe as companies, our strategies have to be live and alive to this business environment that is transitional and uncertain.
So it was written under the CZI, but obviously you had academics and industrialists writing it. Do you have any, who actually did this? Do you have any names of the people that were involved in the writing of the Outlook?
The Outlook is an internal process that we do. The iterations in terms of the discussions at the symposium is where we bring in various experts. We have the African Development Bank giving their outlook on Zimbabwe in the context of the continental outlook. We have the World Bank coming to give their outlook on Zimbabwe again in the context of the global outlook. And we have our own Ministry of Finance giving us the last stretch of the TSP outlook, because we are heading to the finishing line of the Transitional Stabilization Program.
I mean, that brings us to a good point. I mean, one of the comments of business, particularly in 2019, was policy consistency. Is that something that's also looked at in the outlook?
Yes, I think what we have decided to sort of look at it as is the volatility and uncertainty and ambiguity and complexity, because when you are in transition, like I said, you know, the economy is still trying to find its footing. And when you're working in an environment that's trying to find its footing, it seems nothing is definite. That's what we have learned in the past year and in the past few months. So if we are able to look at how is it feasible for us to get to a more definitive stage by the end of 2020, we are then able to know how closely we need to interact and iterate the key variables in the economy.
And of course, 14th of February, that's the date, Rainbow Towers, and you'll be able to issue the report that you'll be issuing, or the publication is CZI Industry Economic Outlook 2020. That'll be there. So you've got to go to the meeting, right? February the 14th. Now then, you're also going to be releasing another report, Manufacturing Sector Survey Report. So maybe talk us through that, because obviously with the mantra of production, the manufacturing sector is critical to the economic growth of the country.
Yes, when the production really requires manufacturing to be firing from all cylinders, as it were, and currently manufacturing is not firing from all cylinders, as we know. So we are looking at the past 10 years. We have sort of looked at the past 10 years and how manufacturing has performed in the past 10 years. And we have decided that we are in a trap of low growth equilibrium. If you look at the performance of the manufacturing sector in the past 10 years, the figures have not been that encouraging, but we are not just saying that we are in a trap and let's sit in a trap. We are actually saying we need decisive industrialization action at the moment. This is really a watershed moment for business. It's a watershed moment for government to take decisive policy decisions so that we get out of this hole that we are in.
I mean, some of the sectors that you look at, subsectors of industry, which are important, I'll just pick a couple out, for example. Capacity utilization. I mean, I think that's a good barometer of how much our local manufacturers are producing. And it's quite low, if I can be polite about it. I think some people range from maybe 30%, some people as high as 60%. What would you say?
So the averages over the past 10 years of capacity utilization have been quite low. And we have found ourselves sometimes celebrating little improvements that may be in less than 10 percentage points, but still below 50% when we are supposed to be operating at optimum levels. We are also looking at output volumes. We are looking at export performance. We are looking at trade performance. We are looking at the financial environment. We are also looking at human capital and employment performance in terms of are we creating jobs and how many jobs is manufacturing contributing to the employment figures in the country.
One area I see, and I'm sure it must be there in the subsector, is the issue of machinery. I mean, I know that a lot of manufacturing machinery can be over 30 years old, and there's this definite need to retool our manufacturing sector to get us up to export market standard and even good products that are made locally. Is that part of the survey report as well, to understand the capacitation that's required for machinery?
Yes, the survey also looks at the level or the standard of machinery and equipment in the different industries. I would like to underline, Andy, that you know, in the past few years, there are a few things that have been consistent in our conversations and in our dialogue. One of them is increased capacity utilization. One of them is that industry requires retooling. And we are at a point, like I said, that this is a decisive a moment where we need to really transform our industries. And we have taken a position that we will be providing government with a business case for an enabling business environment.
But I thought recently the Ministry of Industry and Commerce did come out with some form of blueprint for industrialization policy. Does that also included or taken into account when you look at your manufacturing survey?
We are embracing the policy itself, the industrialization policy. It's a big opportunity and it's a huge vote of confidence from government, or it's a huge commitment statement from government that they want to industrialize. I think the responsibility for us as business is to present to government the business case for each and every subsector of manufacturing so that they can then create the necessary specific industrial policy for those subsectors and also create an enabling and competitive business environment. I think you should take it where, like, if you're looking for a business loan, you go before the financiers and you present your business case and you present your cash flows. So we are working through the process now where, as industry, We need to present this. We need to give government the business case so that they are able to see the economic dividend, the social dividend, and the business dividend, and all the returns that they want to see from a well-functioning
So it's
industry.
the concept of business and government working together going forward.
It is a concept of business and government working together. We give government the business case. They provide an enabling business environment. That's the way forward.
I am going to talk to you one day about the African Continental Free Trade Area and see how your members are ready for that, but not today. So tell us a bit more. I did say when, but repeat, when is the launch? Where will it be?
The launch is on the 14th of February, on Friday this week, and it's going to be at the Rainbow Towers. And we are calling on all business, economic actors, those that are interested in the Zimbabwean economy, to come and participate.
Sekai Guvarika, the Chief Executive Officer of the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries. The CZI report is cited internationally by the World Bank, IMF, and other international organizations on the state of industry in Zimbabwe. The report by CZI is cited in reference and policy by the Zimbabwe government as a barometer to back certain policy justifications. It is used by industrialists in establishing an overview of the sectors that relate to their businesses, and international investors and business explorers into the region and into Zimbabwe refer to the survey. The launch of the CZI Industry Economic Outlook 2020 and the Manufacturing Sector Survey Report is not to be missed.